Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. So John Cena has been basically doing every single podcast he possibly can, including the Joe Rogan podcast, which I thought was a great conversation between Joe, Tony, and John. John shared some very cool insights about his career and how he thinks about things. I encourage you to go check out that conversation if you're sort of interested in how John Cena thinks about his career and things he can control and the fans forgetting about him and things of that nature. But then John also did the wrestling podcast, Insight with CVV, and he sat down. There was a very interesting conversation. But I found the most interesting thing that John Cena said is that AJ Styles is the best to ever do it. That's what John Cena said. So John Cena has also been on record saying that Shawn Michaels and Seth Rollins were his two greatest opponents because they really carried him to his best matches. They challenged him. They, brought the best out in him when Shawn Michaels and Seth Rollins did that. John Cena's on record saying that about Seth Rollins and about John Cena. But then he goes on Insight with CVV and he says AJ Styles is the best to ever do it. Here's exactly what John Cena said. Best to ever do it? Shawn is going to be pissed, and God, did Shawn ever take care of me? There's not a lot Styles can't do, and he makes difficult look easy, but that is not God-given talent, that is practice. When you see difficult become seamless, it's because he's done 10,000 times the amount of shit he can do seamlessly. Man, he's the best to ever do it. That's what John Cena said about AJ Styles, and I don't know if I totally agree that he's the best to ever do it, but there's an argument to be made that AJ Styles is the best in-ring competitor of all time. Up there again with Shawn Michaels and Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan and Will Ospreay and all these type of people who really focus on their in-ring work. But what happened with AJ Styles is when he got to WWE, he became a sort of a full package, sort of 5-tool professional wrestler, sports entertainer. Like, he was putting on obviously amazing matches in TNA. That's how he became well known in the professional wrestling space. But then AJ Styles blossoms into the superstar we see today. Over 40 years old, still be able to do a phenomenal forearm and put on matches that are absolutely insane. His match with John Cena was picture perfect. AJ Styles even came out in that match in his classic TNA shorts. But John Cena claims that AJ Styles is the best to ever do it. From the things that I stated, he can do so many different things seamlessly. Can he go technical? Yes. Can he go speed? Yes. Can he go high flying? Yes. Can he go just like raw, punch you in the mouth type of style? AJ Styles? Yes, he can. He can do it all, and he can mold his style to fit the repertoire or the strengths of the wrestler that he's in the ring with, which makes AJ Styles really, really dangerous and makes him sort of the ultimate competitor when it comes to WWE. And John Cena has wrestled AJ Styles a lot, and he claims that he is the best to ever do it. And it's very, very interesting because John has been in the ring with the best to ever do it, right? Shawn Michaels, Seth Rollins, The Miz, The Rock, right? Umaga, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, Edge, Triple H, Batista, JBL, like the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And then he picks AJ Styles as the best to ever do it. And AJ Styles kind of is this molding, this conglomeration of new school, old school, everything in between. He's hard-hitting, he's crisp, he's sharp, but he also has a lot of moves in his repertoire and loves to do high spots. And so AJ Styles is sort of that mix in there. And it's interesting that he says AJ Styles because that leads me to think about his match with Gunther that's coming up on December 13th. John Cena's very, 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 very last match is coming up on December 13th ever. Again, he signed a 5-year ambassadorship with WWE, so you'll see John Cena around just in a suit, not in his jorts. And Gunther, kind of comes from the same mold as AJ Styles. They grinded on the independents. They care about the professional wrestling art. John Cena is not a professional wrestler. John Cena is a sports entertainer through and through. He is a WWE guy through and through. Gunther and AJ Styles are not. So it's interesting that John would name a guy like AJ Styles as the best to ever do it, when he's not a sports entertainer guy. Yes, he became a sports entertainer. You can only reach the pinnacle and be world champion and WWE champion like AJ Styles if you become sort of a sports entertainer, professional wrestler type that Seth Rollins has become. Begrudgingly, I'll say that CM Punk has become, that Shawn Michaels was, right? That Daniel Bryan became as well. And Gunther, you're seeing Gunther do a little bit of that as well. And this is what Gunther has to say leading up to his match with John Cena coming up on December 13th. Gunther was on First Take. We know that ESPN and WWE have a deal. And Gunther says that he absolutely hated seeing John Cena on TV when he started wrestling. I just remember when I started wrestling 20 years ago, I remember that I hated the guy in jorts on TV week by week. I always thought he doesn't belong in the ring. Gunther is an absolute purist. He's a big traditionalist, and he said it on Monday Night Raw. John Cena is definitely the greatest sports entertainer of all time. Gunther said it on Monday. Everyone agrees with it. John Cena is the greatest sports entertainer of all time. But I think in this very moment, Gunther is the greatest professional wrestler there is right now. And the argument can be made about AJ Styles as well. That's why I sort of lump these two ideas together. John Cena says AJ Styles is the best to ever do it. AJ Styles molded his repertoire and just executed everything to perfection. If you are a professional wrestler watching this, you should study AJ Styles, the way he moves, the way he sells, his energy, his charisma, his execution, his crispness. All that stuff can be said the same about Gunther. And it's so interesting that these clash of styles, no pun intended, will be John Cena's last match. You have John Cena, the greatest sports entertainer of all time, the GOAT, and you have Gunther, a purist, the ring general. The mat is sacred, greatest professional wrestler on the planet right now, clashing in John Cena's final match. And it's absolutely going to be a classic thing. And it's also going to skyrocket Gunther into another stratosphere, especially if he goes on to beat the shit out of and tap out Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. So we'll see how that goes. But if John Cena taps out and passes out in his very last match, people aren't going to forget that. And Gunther is going to make sure they don't forget that. So it could be very interesting how this match could shape WWE going forward as the GOAT, the greatest of all time, moves on. And Gunther, the best professional wrestler going right now, moves forward. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd absolutely love to hear from you. Then like this video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.